Hey everyone, I'm Ingrid Ahumada.
Hello folks, I'm Rick Meekins.
Join us for the next half hour on Epiphany Off the Cuff, where we will discuss what's going on in the entrepreneur community.
Hey everybody, I want to welcome you to another episode of Epiphany Off the Cuff. My name is Rick Meekins, I'll be your host, and we are on episode number 16. Today in the studio, so to speak, our virtual studio, we have Rob Turley with White Rabbit. White Rabbit's an amazing artificial intelligence company. He's going to tell you a lot about. I think you're going to be really interested in, impressed in it. But Rob has also had an interesting entrepreneurial journey. He's done a number of things. Just going to probably throw you off just a little bit. Say, how did you get here?
Yeah, none of it makes sense.
But he's here. He's got a cool story, and we are ready to get started. Rob, thanks for coming. Thanks for joining.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Rick. Pleasure to be here.
Awesome.
But so I'm one of the founders of an artificial intelligence company. We do sales enablement, artificial intelligence specifically. And if you really want to kind of break it down to the brass tacks of how it all works and everything, is that if you're familiar with the term, we really vibe, or I vibe with you, or she's got a bad vibe, he's got a good vibe, that type of thing. You know what I'm talking about, Rick? Right. So really what we're doing is that we're taking humans, we're breaking them down to numbers, and we're figuring out what vibe they have. A vibe is short for vibration. A vibration is a frequency. So we break down humans into numbers, we create them, we create frequencies and identify the frequencies of the people. And what we're able to do is that, like, if you will, imagine if you're playing a cello, you do a low C, then a high C, like a da, da, like that, right? Put the two together.
Right on key, man.
It sounds incredible. And also it makes you feel good. You can get goosebumps from music. It's quite literally the frequency of the music. It's the harmonization. Yeah. So once we're able to turn humans into frequencies, we can figure out which ones will harmonize together. So we could tell you the probability that you'll be able to build a successful relationship or a harmony that will result in a positive outcome in a business setting. Nice. So that's really what we're doing. And that's before you speak to the person or ever meet them. So we can predict the probability of harmonization between two people so that you know who to reach out to. Yep. And really just in the sense of, who am I selling to? Who do I reach out to? Who am I going to be able to build a successful relationship with?
Cool, man. Cool. So you're taking a lot of the hard work out of prospecting. I mean, that's what we spend a lot of time doing, you know, as business owners, as leaders, just like, you know, who do I reach out to today? You almost end up taking a bit of a buckshot approach in terms of, you know, trying to make connections.
Pray and pray.
Awesome. So is that how you came up with this, or, you know, was this, you know, something you stumbled on, or how'd you get here?
How did I get here? Well, that's a long story, but really how we got to where we are now with what we're doing.
Yeah.
That was after several pivots, because what we originally created was AI to build other AI. There's no market for that because no one knows how to build it. Okay. So we found that out pretty quickly. So when that technology is in demand, we'll be the first to market. It still exists. Awesome. It's just that's that. But we went based off of market demand. What were people asking for? So when we were trying to sell that, they're like, well, wait, can you do this? We're like, well, yeah, we could. And then everybody kept asking the same question. Can you help with this? Can you help with this? Can you help with this? Yeah. And that was for sales enablement, being able to identify who to talk to, when to talk to them, and which people are going to have the highest probability of engaging with you. Yeah. So first it started in the lead gen space, found out that was a dark, murky, really kind of shady industry. We weren't into it. So we got out of there as quickly as possible. And we went to the whole enabling sales, or sales enablement. So taking sales data and people data and being able to make sense of it. So developing mathematically perfect ideal customer personas, so you know exactly who to target. Mm-hmm. And then that makes prospecting more effective. It makes lead gen more effective. It reduces the cost of acquiring customers, cost of lead gen in general. When you're buying lists or whatever you may be doing, aggregating data from LinkedIn or so on, it's going to be more on target from the start. And then from that point, you can run them through the system, all the leads that you aggregate, and we'll tell you the probability that you'll be successful with each of them. So automatically disqualify unqualified prospects and automatically discover and identify the ones that are the opportunities. And you can have it in order of priority of who has the highest probability of being a successful person to speak to. But how I got into working in artificial intelligence is a whole different story on its own. So I started out as a graphic designer, So
that's where we all start out, man. You know,
yeah, you're right.
Right on
Graphic
target.
designer. Yep. That's what I went to college for. And I was working in advertising and communications, realized I hated advertising and communications because advertising is a cutthroat, terrible industry where, you know, where I was working, the corporate experience was like high school clicks and it was disgusting. Wanted to get that out of there as quickly as possible. It was also like slave labor, pretty much awful. Would not recommend it to my worst enemy. But yeah, would not work in advertising. Wasn't my cup of tea. Anybody who does it and loves it, good for you. But I then moved to doing different like global marketing design, also event design. Then I was.
Is that with your own company or is that with just another company?
Oh, so I was doing both freelance, working with companies too, all sorts of stuff. But I went into, I was specializing in user experience and user interface design beyond that point. And then I started working with a custom development company, custom software development.
Okay.
And we created an artificial intelligence deep learning program. And that's where it all begun right there. I was like, wow, no, this is something that I want to do.
It clicked for you. Okay.
And from that point, started the business and, you know, it's history from there.
How long's the business been around?
It's going to be 2 years on April 24th.
Oh, wow. Congratulations. Been around for 2 years as a company. You've been through a couple different iterations, you know, of moving things forward. I mean, tell us a little bit about the journey. You know, I mean, you know, I think you and I talked before, you know, about, you know, how things don't always usually end up, you know, the way we've got it, you know, strategically laid out.
Oh yeah, it's like a special kind of hell that I love. It's
I love that.
Being an
Special kind of
entrepreneur
hell.
is not glorious fun time like a lot of people think it is.
So you don't get the beach vacations like every couple of weeks?
Oh yeah, because that's a thing. You know, it's blood, sweat, and tears by definition. A lot of risk, and you have to be willing to take that risk and move forward. Because when everything goes wrong and you're out of money, and everything is just tanking, not doing anything that you wanted to do, not getting a paycheck for 6 months, you know, you have to be willing to take that risk, and you lose a lot along the way, but you also gain a lot along the way. So it's being able to push through that when times are most difficult. If you can make it through that time, you're going to make it, because most companies fail at the 1 year mark. And that's when no one's getting paid, or they're having a lot of difficulty. They can't get funding. They don't know what to do. Things aren't working the way they're supposed to. You need to push through that. If you can make it through that 1 year hump and you can press on through, and you've got a good team working with you that are dedicated, that is the key. It's supporting yourself, but having the other people around you support you as well. Family supporting you. But if you don't have that, that's also okay. As long as you have the drive and the determination to get it done, you can get it done.
Is that something that you learned over time? Was it something like, you know, just, you know, it was harder and harder, but you realized you'd been through stuff? Or what was your experience with, you know, getting to having that level of grit? Is really what it comes down to.
I've been through a lot of shit. A lot of terrible things have happened to me throughout my life. So taking the risk of being an entrepreneur, oh no, I lose my apartment, live in my car. Okay. I've been through worse. Yeah. Doesn't matter. Like what kind of, it's not that bad. So it's all about what you consider important to yourself, and believing in yourself, believing in what you're doing, and listening to the market. Where if you don't believe in yourself, or you don't believe in what you're doing, and you don't have full commitment to it, you're not gonna make it. Yeah. It's all about the commitment, that level of commitment, that level of drive. But that grit is not taught, it's experienced. Yeah. And it's really just testing yourself to the limit, to the absolute limit. And if you can't take that limit, you realize how far you could stretch yourself and how far you can go. And the people who cannot stretch themselves that far are not going to make it. And it's about how you view risk. What is risky to you? What is considered risk? If you're like, oh, well, you know, I don't invest in aggressive stocks because I may lose some money. You're not going to be an entrepreneur. Okay, if you're not willing to lose everything, I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah. No plan B, right?
Well, yeah, of course there is a plan B, but the plan B is part of plan A. Like, so if that's like a pivot, plan B is a pivot.
Yeah.
So if you're driving your company doing one thing and there's demand somewhere else, or something causes you to have to make changes, you have to be willing to make those changes. So the entrepreneurs who think, this is my idea of the product, this is what I want it to do, and this is the only way that it's going to work. If the market doesn't want it, sucks to suck. Doesn't matter. It's not always going to be your dream or your vision, specifically how you want to see it, because what people buy and what people want to interact with has nothing to do with what you want. It's what they want. Exactly. So I learned a lot from doing design, is that design is it's function over form. So form is art, function is engineering, but then function and form together is design. And that's the thing, is that when you're a designer, it kind of hurts your soul a little bit, because it doesn't matter what you like or what you want. You could suggest it, but really in the end, it's what they want. Yeah. You have to make what they want. And if the people don't want it, they're not going to use it or buy it. So that's a very important attribute. That whole thing of if we build it, they will come. You know that saying? That is the biggest lie anybody can ever tell you. That's a joke. If you build it, people will not come unless they want it. And the chances of you building something that people want on the first try like that, you got better chance of getting struck by lightning.
Yep. Totally agree. Wow. Okay. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. You were a bartender at one point.
I still do it for fun.
That's awesome. You had mentioned to me that there were some lessons that you'd learned being a bartender. So you're totally out of your sweet spot. You're not in design. You're not in corporate design and loving life and can't wait to get up the next day. You're tending bar. You learned a lot. Talk to us about that.
Learning how to sell. Bartending is selling. So how to upsell, how to talk to people. Really, when you're a bartender, you're a therapist. All you're doing is listening to people and speaking to them in a way where they will really resonate with you and like you, because the more that they like you, the more that they come back, the more money you're going to make, because bartenders in North Carolina make $2.35 an hour. That's it. Hourly ain't going to cut it. It's not going to work. Yeah. You can't pay any bills like that. So you depend on tips. To get a tip, you need to bend over backwards, and you need to have people like you. And people often I'm more of an aggressive bartender. I'll make fun of you, but it's that type of hurt that makes you feel good because it's with care. So it's kind of like a love-hate relationship type of a thing. But it's getting into people's heads and understanding them really at a personal level. And that's what selling is. Selling is relationship building. Bartending at the core is relationship building with all walks of life. And it's also, you can pay your damn bills.
Yeah. That's a motivator right there. So tell us about kind of that application with a difficult sale. You've got someone you're trying to work with, you've identified they're a perfect fit. Tell us about your approach and how you applied all of your learnings there.
Well, I wouldn't consider anything a difficult sale. If it's a difficult sale, they're probably not a good fit. And when I say they're not a good fit, it's because they personally, as a human being, they're not a good fit for you.
Okay.
If they're being difficult or they're giving you a lot of pushback, that could be because there's some sort of denial issue that they're having, or they don't want to hear what they're hearing. That is possible, but that's usually, you can work through it. That's how I'm a solution seller. I do solution selling. I help solve problems. Being a C-suite executive helps with that, because my job all day, every day is to solve other people's problems that cannot be solved. When someone can't solve the problem, it goes up to their manager. When they can't solve the problem, it goes up to the director. When they can't solve the problem, it goes up to the VP. When they can't solve the problem, it goes to me. If I can't solve the problem, who am I going to talk to? No one. So that's the thing, is that you need to be a problem solver. And really, if you're talking to high-level executives and selling them and they're giving pushback, it's because you're not helping them solve the problem. They have these issues, and if they don't qualify to sell to, in the sense where there is no pain points that you are directly relevant to, you shouldn't be selling that person. You should be pushing them to somebody who can help them when it's not you. And that's what I can't stand about a lot of salespeople. They will sell people on things simply because they get a commission, even though they're not a good fit. They could be a terrible fit. They're still willing to buy the product, but then you're causing a nightmare for the CS team. You're causing a nightmare for the product team, because they're going to start trying to innovate things, because that person will never be happy with the product. And you're innovating things that your good customers have no relevance to whatsoever. You're trying to innovate stuff, build new parts of the technology to appease somebody who's never going to be happy. So you get a high churn rate and it becomes very expensive. Customer success becomes very expensive. You're just dumping time and money into them. So that deal that you just closed for $50,000 is actually costing you $100,000. That's the thing, is that, are they a good fit? And that's part of where our technology ties into it as well, is that it's not about the company or the account so much. Everybody knows that they need accounting software. Okay. I don't care who you are. And it's something that is just required for a business, because you're not going to do it on paper. You're out of your freaking mind. So every business needs accounting software, but are they going to buy yours? Well, oh yeah, the company's a good fit. Everybody needs accounting software. Yeah. Target everybody. How come you don't have 40 million customers then? Why? You have 150. Why don't you have 40 million? Everybody needs it, right? No, it's about who should you be speaking to in the first place. There are 11 influencers in any given enterprise, for example. Those influencers are not always decision makers. They're not always budget holders. They're not always the end decision maker or the end user. The people who can influence the deal, the people that are going to be involved in some sort of way, shape, or form that are going to influence the people. And then you have your champion. The champion is the person who you're going to sell to and who you're going to approach so that they can sell it internally to their own business, because who are they going to believe? Frank, who's worked in accounting for the past 12 years, that you trust and that's always been there on time, who's been a very reliable employee, or are you going to trust some random salesperson who's hitting you up one day? You're going to trust Frank. But who's Frank going to trust? Well, people at your business selling this accounting software, the salesperson who's approaching him will resonate with him big time. They'll really hit it off. They'll be like, wow, I really want to get to know this person better. This feels great. And, I really trust this person, because people buy from people they like, trusting, can relate to. The CFO who's going to make the acquisition, he doesn't really resonate with that salesperson. You contact the budget holder, guess what? You're going to get shot down immediately, because the CFO's job is to keep the company from spending money or spend money appropriately. But if he doesn't like you, you're out. It doesn't matter how good your tech is. The product or the service is irrelevant. It's about the relationship that's built, because there's always choices of products or services. So the thing is that salesperson who's trying to reach out to the CFO, they shouldn't be reaching out to the CFO at all. They should be reaching out to Frank in accounting. I don't care if he's a senior or a base level employee, because you can champion Frank. You can build a relationship with him, and he will vouch for you and sell internally. And then you're going to protect him. You're going to provide him, and you are going to help him accomplish what he needs to accomplish to keep him safe and to keep him credible within his company and to keep you credible as an option. So it's helping him throughout the process. That is far more powerful than contacting end decision makers or budget holders with their hands in the pocketbook like everybody thinks they should be.
Cool. Good stuff.
I know it's a mouthful, so.
Nevertheless. Tell us, give us a couple of important lessons, through your journey.
Life lessons, business lessons, or what kind of lessons?
Whatever you're swinging for.
The saying of, if you want to get something done right, do it yourself. No. Sure, with maybe life stuff, business stuff, absolutely not. A good leader delegates. If you don't have people surrounding you that you could delegate your work to, you've made shitty hires. It's that simple. Giving the work to other people is important, because if you want to do everything yourself to get it done right as a leader, you are never going to get past that small business phase, and you are going to be drowning in work 24/7. Do not ever think that I need to get it done because I'm the only person who's qualified to do it. Train someone else to do it. Train someone else. Skills can be learned. Personality cannot be learned. And confidence cannot be learned. Executive presence cannot be learned. That's something that is developed. It is personal. If you find the right people and hire by culture, and you know that people are capable and willing to learn and coachable, you could teach people to do it. So have someone follow you or shadow you to learn exactly what it is that you're doing, so they can replicate that process and do it in their own way and support them through it. It's not about, oh, I can't just hand this off and give it to someone. It's about, can I train someone to learn what I'm doing with me so I can hand it to them and they can take care of it from there. So delegation is super important. That would be like the number one: delegate, or you will never make it past that 1 million.
Absolutely. Agree. You got one more?
One more. Well, I guess have confidence in yourself. That's number one, is that if you don't believe you can do it, you won't do it. The way that I look at it, there are two truths in this life. There's I can and there's I can't. Both of them are synonymously true.
Mm-hmm.
The one that you choose to believe is the one that is true to you. So it's not about if you can or you can't. It's about I can and I know I can. You will do it. You will find a way. And I can't. If you say that, oh, I can't do this, you can't and you won't, because you don't believe that you can in the first place.
Yep.
So
Yep.
those two truths, it's actually a choice.
Yeah. Yeah. That was Henry Ford said that whether you believe you can or you can't, it's true.
Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
you stumbled across it yourself. Awesome.
I don't know anything about Henry Ford.
Cool. So one of the other things that we always talk about, with our team is, just things that we've been through. All of us as entrepreneurs, we've been through difficult situations. And you know what, we had the grit, as you talked about before, to really muscle through it. What was one or two of yours that, perhaps at the time it seemed like it was the end of the world, or something, extremely difficult, that you just put your head down and just muscle through it?
Well, I don't know if it's a disability or something, but I do not feel that this is the end of the world thing. That doesn't happen, because nothing's the end of the world. Like, get over yourself. It's just you panicking. Calm down. So it's just working through it. I mean, times can suck, but it doesn't mean it's the end of the world, because you're still going to be here the next day. It's fine. I mean, if you get hit by a car, that's different, but totally unrelated. That's the thing, is that nothing is the end of the world. And if you see it that way, that means it's your problem. It's not the situation's problem.
For sure.
So it's just muscle through it. Sometimes you lose good employees because you can't pay them.
Sure.
Sometimes you need to furlough the entire team because you have to furlough the entire team. There's no revenue coming in.
Sure.
But one thing is that you should always pay yourself first, because if you can't take care of yourself, you can't take care of others. So always take care of yourself first. It's like I was taught going through a program. So it's a mindset manifestation program, everything like that good stuff. But think about it like on planes. When the plane is losing pressure or whatever it may be, put on your own mask and then put on the child's mask afterward. Help them, because if you don't have oxygen, you're useless to help anybody else. So you must help yourself before you help others. That is not selfishness. That's called taking care of yourself. You need to put gas in the engine before you could drive the car. If your engine has no gas, you're not getting anywhere.
True. Good lesson. You have a story to go with that, or no?
Oh, not really. No. Something to live by. Yeah. So I mean, if you're not feeding yourself, if you're not eating, if you're not sleeping, well, you're not going to get much done. You're not going to be a lot of help to anybody. That's really it. And I have a lot of difficulty sleeping because I'm an insomniac. I have been since I was like 13.
Yeah.
It's a medical thing. So sleep, like I was sleeping like 2.5 to 4 hours a night for 10 years. And it destroys you. But then it was more of a mindset thing. Me saying I can't sleep. And that was me telling myself I can't.
You believed it. Yeah.
When I was doing auto suggestion saying you can sleep, there's nothing that keeps you from doing this, meditating on it, all that stuff. And now I sleep like 6 to 7 hours a night.
Yeah.
I just talked myself into understanding that, yes, you can sleep. And that was the difference.
Yeah.
No medication did it. I would take Ambien, whatever it would be, like maximum legal strength Ambien. I'd still only sleep 2 hours, or I wouldn't be able to get to sleep at night. It didn't matter what I took. It was literally the mindset.
You've made a number of comments about not mindset, and having a different perspective than perhaps what is common, whether it's, the way that you're approaching sales, whether it's the way that you are, handling different situations, with your business, hardships, whatever it is. How does one, and I don't know if you have the answer to this, but I mean, how does one, kind of shift their thinking or their perspective? And, and I think I'll take license and use what I think would be your perspective and look at things the way that they really are, versus being reactive, being, self-destructive, et cetera, et cetera. How does one make that shift?
You just have to tell yourself that you're not going to do it anymore and believe it. It's about belief.
Yeah.
You need to believe yourself. If you don't believe yourself, you don't believe anything.
I mean, was this something that
Self-respect, self-actuation, self-image. If you have a poor self-image, you're going to treat yourself poorly.
For sure.
If you have poor self-confidence, people are not going to listen to you. They're not going to take you seriously. I mean, I'm 25 years old and I'm a CEO. That's a problem usually because age. No one, since I've worked on my mindset and everything like that, not a single person asks me how old I am. And I consult people who are in their 40s who own multi-$100 million companies. They trust me with their life. Why? It's not because I'm 25, that's for sure. It's because I can make things happen. I can help people accomplish things and I can get them in the place where they need to be. And I know I can. If I didn't think I could, most people my age will say, oh, no, I need to start at this base level position. I need to whatever else. No, that has nothing to do with it. What has to do with it is your competence, your confidence, and your executive presence. The end.
For sure. Was that through, did you learn that through some training or is that through something like you figured out for yourself and just put it into practice?
I found out for myself.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Okay.
One person told me one time at this conference, it was really funny. He was like, you know, you have enough confidence for the next like 10 square miles. And I was like, yeah, I guess. But that's it. It's just that I guess I've always been that way.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I think that's extremely valuable. You know, that's something that I know that I had to learn, over time. It's just like, stuff is just not that important. That for me, it's has a lot to do with vision. It's like, I know where I'm going, and so there's obstacles and there's distractions and, blah, blah, blah to, really keep, to slow things down or whatever. But, it's gotten to the point where it's like, okay, whatever, let's, just keep this thing moving.
Where are you going? Stuff. Where do you want to be? And if that's clear, it's not about what happens in the middle.
Yeah.
If you have a clear vision and image of where you want to be, or where you need to be, it's not about what you need to do to get there, because the how is a delta. Delta means that it's change. It's a variable that's under constant change, and it's variable. It's not a constant. The where you want to be or where you need to be, that is a constant because that's where you need to be. That's where you want to be. The how is the delta. It's constantly changing. So don't worry about the how, because if you're worried about the how and you're being super analytical about the how, you're never going to get there because it's always changing and it's going to throw you a curveball.
Analysis paralysis,
instead of right field. It doesn't matter. It's just that if that's the expectation of this is how it needs to be done, you're not going to get anywhere because that how will just overnight it's gone.
Yep.
The whole plan is just in the toilet.
Yep.
So it's about keeping your eye on the ball and understanding this is where it's going to be, and that's that.
Yep. And be ready to pivot, right? Cool, man. Good stuff. Do you have people? Is there someone that you've looked up to? Inspirational leader, an entrepreneur, someone like that's impacted your thinking or the way to approach certain things?
Oh yeah, for sure. So let's see, Steve Jobs, although the man has passed away, rest his soul. But I thought he did all of the right things for the right reasons. I mean, if you look at Apple, what he did was create a society. It's quite literally a cult.
Yeah. You
can't get someone to switch from an iPhone to an Android. You would have to pry the iPhone from their cold, dead hands. That is a beautiful thing because he took a business and quite literally made it something that people worship. And he created something using the right methodology. He treats his employees properly. And it was the truest form of innovation, in my opinion. But Bill Gates, on the other hand, that was very monopolistic. It was very cutthroat, hardcore. I don't respect the way that he ran his business or what he did to get to where he did. I just think it's very impressive of how far he took it and how far he got doing what he did. The accomplishment is impressive. The process is not. I guess Elon Musk, because the guy how he presents himself, he seems like, the enemy almost, like this, this pompous asshole that's just, oh yeah, he's not controllable. Like, what the hell is this guy doing? That is literally a facade. It's the way he wants people to see him because all publicity is good publicity, but him looking nuts is quite literally what's keeping his company growing and growing and growing because he upsets people constantly. He makes people happy constantly. And he has such a level of control over his business and his community that it's incredibly impressive, and it's all intentional.
Wow, that's impressive. That is impressive. If you could sit down with anybody, any point that was born from any period in time, who would that be? Just have a conversation.
Danny DeVito.
Who?
Danny DeVito.
Why is that?
Because he's just incredible. I just need to meet him. There's no actual like benefit to me in any way. I just want to sit in a room and get drunk with Danny DeVito because I feel like that would be like the most amazing time ever.
Okay.
He's hilarious. Or Morgan Freeman, because who doesn't want to meet Morgan Freeman? I mean,
right. The guy,
he did the thing with Bruce Almighty where he played God.
Yes.
If God was in human form, it would be Morgan Freeman. Like, actually, I don't know why. It's just such a perfect fit. It doesn't even make sense to me. But yeah,
right. So what's your favorite? So assuming Danny DeVito, based on films and his career, is there a favorite film or TV show that he was part of that comes to mind?
Oh yeah, I mean, for I guess hours watched, it would be It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. So no, just Danny DeVito, because I think that would be the most fun I'd have. Another person I'd probably want to meet is Alec Baldwin.
Okay.
Because the guy is like the perfect embodiment of just a total asshole. It's incredible. I love it in the best way possible. And I mean that with the kindness of my heart, that total asshole is a good thing in this sense. It's just, the 30 Rock? 30 Rock was a show that Tina Fey created quite literally for Alec Baldwin. The part that he plays in that show, she created the show around Alec Baldwin's personality.
Oh, that's too funny. I didn't know that. That.
Not many people do actually know that, but that show was created for Alec Baldwin by Tina Fey. So yeah, I think it's a lot of fun that she was just like, I have to make this show, and it's for him. And it was one of the most successful. What is it? It's considered a sitcom, right?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, it was like one of the most successful sitcoms to ever have been created.
Cool, man. Cool. I like all those guys. I certainly agree. Any more any tidbits you want to share, with our audience before we call it a day?
Well, depends on your audience. What would they want to hear?
Well, they want to hear, they want to be inspired. They want to hear tidbits that they can take and apply to their business, whether it's sales, operations, whatever.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So sales data. I deal with sales data. That's all I do all day, every day. I analyze sales data. I've seen quite literally millions and millions and millions of different data points from different companies, different industries, all over the place. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. It doesn't matter who you work with. It doesn't matter what you sell. What matters is that you're tracking it. Track everything that you can, because the data quite literally is the story of your past and your present. And if you want to use an advanced artificial intelligence solution, that's where the market's going. You need to have the data. If you're not tracking it, you're only hurting yourself. If you're a small business out there and you're going, oh yeah, no, I know all my customers. Do you? No. You don't know them the way that AI can get to know them. It's a whole different story, and it helps with so many different things. And even if you don't use artificial intelligence as a solution, knowing that much about your customers is the difference between hypergrowth and no growth. Yeah. That is the difference. So the way that what I like to say is that data tells the story of your past and present. And if it's interpreted properly, it can even tell your future. It can predict your future, and it can predict your future accurately. So forecasting is very important. Forecasting on average is about 30% correct. That's pretty terrible. That's about 1 out of 3. It's not great. So it's pretty much guesswork. But the better you track the data, the better you understand your customer ecosystem, the more accurate that forecasting is going to become, and the more you can build and forecast what's going to happen next in your business to ensure that you're going to be successful.
Good stuff. Yeah, data, absolutely critical.
And it's not that hard. It's not that hard.
No, it's not. It's about system discipline, right? And just make sure that you're very consistent and actually reading the data that you're capturing. Yeah. Cool, man. Thank you so much for being on the show. I really enjoyed it. Thank you, listeners, viewers, for watching another episode of Epiphany Off the Cuff. Don't forget to check us out on social. We're on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Love to connect with you. If you've got any questions, please feel free to email us or message us there. Rob, again, thank you so much for being on the show. This is Rob Turley with White Rabbit Sales AI. We'll catch you next time on Epiphany Off the Cuff. Have a great day.
Yep. Thank you so much.
Well, everyone, thanks for listening to the show. We hope that you've enjoyed it.
We would love to hear your feedback or review. If you loved it, drop us a line. Let us know what business topics are on your mind. We'll make sure to talk about it in an upcoming episode.
If you have any questions or you would like to be featured on the show, message us on social. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Epiphany. We'd love to hear from you.
Thanks again for listening. We look forward to seeing you next time on Epiphany Off the Cuff.